Yo, yo, yo. If you tune into me, you watching Gully TV. Listen, I have to get this off my chest because it's something that I came in contact with over the course of the last couple of days. There's a narrative online and amongst basketball players that Len Bias, who played in the ACC at the University of Maryland, was better than Michael Jordan in college, or used to kill Michael. He killed Michael Jordan in college. It's something of that nature. And I just did a little vlog piece on Sean Branch, and he was talking about his encounters with Len Bias. And because of that, I went and started looking up old games of Len Bias. Now, mind you, when Len Bias and Michael Jordan was in college, I was a little kid. So my perception of Michael Jordan is that he's a guy who hit a big shot in college and, came to the NBA and blew up as the next Dr. J or whatever. There's a video online and it shows Len Bias highlights. And when you're watching these highlights, a lot of these highlights were a game when Len Bias played against the North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm sitting around with one of my buddies and we editing video and we watching the Len Bias footage, and I'm like, damn, he had a jumper, he was big and muscular, he doing this, he doing that. I said, look, he doing all this shit to North Carolina. I'm like, that's Michael Jordan and them out there. So he like, damn, yeah, he's killing Mike. You know what I mean? He's killing, that's the narrative that people put on it. So I went to, the next day I was still watching the Len Bias highlights, and an associated video came up, and it was like University of Maryland versus North Carolina Tar Heels, 1984, 85, whatever the year it was. So what I'm looking at is a game of the same highlights that Len Bias gets all of the accolades for, the same highlights. I'm looking at the same game, and I'm looking at Michael Jordan's highlights, and I'm like, damn. I didn't know that, I never knew, and I don't think most people know unless you're of a certain age. I didn't know that Michael Jordan was a killer in college. I didn't know that all of that shit, I'm watching his highlights, all of that shit that he did in the NBA, he was doing that shit in college. I didn't know that he was doing that shit in college, yo. He, literally all of it. I didn't see anything different in the NBA, really. He was a deadly catch and shooter. Like, a lot of Michael Jordan's moves in college didn't require him putting the ball on the ground. Like, as soon as he would get it, he would face up and shoot. Similar to the shot that he made to win a national championship. When you see that shot, when people show you that shot, when you see it on film and archive videos, you would think that he hit a big shot. He didn't. He was hitting them shits all night. He was hitting them shots all night, yo. That jumper was just one of many. He was hitting them from all over the court. That mid-range shit, that shit that he became famous for, like, he was never a big, heavily reputed three-point shooter. But all of that shit that we seen in the NBA, that mid-range jumper, that shit that he did to Brian Russell, who I'm going to speak about in a minute, he been doing that shit. He been doing that shit. That jumper been wet, been potent as a motherfucker. Somehow, Michael Jordan's shot and the shot by Keith Smart get associated with each other because they were in national championship games. Keith Smart hit his shot with like 5 seconds left. Jordan hit his shot with like 17 seconds left. Georgetown still had a chance to win the game. They went down the court and they threw the ball away. Something else that I wasn't aware of, when you sit back and you watching a University of North Carolina basketball program, especially back then, you looking at the guys that's on the court, them is 5 McDonald's All-Americans. I never really, thought about that. Whenever they was getting on the court, those are 5 McDonald's All-Americans. I'm watching the game against University of Maryland, and you get, everybody compares Michael Jordan and Len Bias because I guess they were the stars or whatever. Sam Perkins was balling like a motherfucker in that game. Sam Perkins was swatting the fuck out of Len Bias' shot. Len Bias come to the well. Sam Perkins was swatting the fuck out that shit. And He was getting buckets like a motherfucker. I'm like, damn, Sam Perkins has problems, right? That ain't it. That ain't it. James Worthy was on the fucking team. James Worthy had 30 points. He had like 30 points in the national championship game. Michael Jordan didn't do nothing but hit the shot. Like, he was doing this shit all through the game, but he didn't do nothing but hit the shot. He was a very, very deceptive offensive rebounder. Like, Jordan was only 6'5", man. Jordan was going down there in that paint and getting putbacks and taking that ball off the rim and getting rebounds, and a real problem around the rim. Watching the North Carolina Tar Heels, I'm like, because all of these guys ended up being Hall of Famers, basically. I'm watching James Worthy just go ape shit on Patrick Ewing. I mean, James Worthy's only 6'9". He went ape shit in that game, man. This nigga had so many fucking dunks. He didn't even smile. He just kept dunking the fucking ball. I'm like, God damn. And they had Brad Daugherty. North Carolina had Brad Daugherty, yo, on this same team. Brad Daugherty was an 18-year-old freshman. So after I watch the North Carolina thing and I eliminate the narrative of Len Bias being better than Michael Jordan, I go and I watch Michael Jordan's top 50 greatest plays of all time. And I noticed something immediately that people don't talk about. Michael Jordan was ripped like a motherfucker. Michael Jordan was one of the most muscular two guards around. If you go look at his fucking physique back then, I would like to see his training regimen. Michael Jordan was ripped, yo. He was ripped. Now, you got a guy who's a guard. He's 6'5", and he's coming to the hoop, and he's taking flight and shit like that. You got to deal with that muscle mass. For real. Just muscle, man. That's something that people don't point out about Michael Jordan. Muscular ass legs, muscular ass frame. Like, Michael Jordan could have played wide receiver in the NFL. Straight up. Michael Jordan could have played football. He chose baseball, but he could have played football. After I got my cup full of Michael Jordan, I looked at Kobe's top greatest highlights. Kobe Bryant is the only person remotely close. Anybody else, MJ, if you watching this, anybody else that we compared to you, we was tripping and we apologize. Nobody can fuck with Michael Jordan as far as being a two guard. He the baddest motherfucking two guard ever. Straight up. Just a killer. And I was under the impression that he turned to that in the NBA. No. Michael Jordan was a killer at the University of North Carolina, and that shot that he hit, that was just one of many. And if you go look at North Carolina Tar Heel highlights, you could just listen to the commentator. The commentator talks about the 6'5" Michael Jordan. He had 33 points the other night. He was the shit in college. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people knew. He was the shit. Georgetown and Patrick Ewing was the shit during this period of time, but Michael Jordan, I can't believe all of them niggas was on North Carolina at one time. It's crazy. Watching James Worthy play, man, in college, I'm just shaking my head like this boy is on his way to the Lakers for about 15 years. I had to get that off my chest, man. The Michael Jordan shit, man. Stop it. Stop comparing people to him. No, Len Bias didn't kill him. They both got their shit off. If you go look at the highlights and go watch the game, Len Bias had a potent-ass jumper to be 6'7" or 6'8", whatever he was. But he did not kill Michael Jordan. A lot of those plays, Michael Jordan wasn't defending Len Bias, and Len Bias wasn't defending Michael Jordan. They played two different positions. So subscribe to the channel, The Real Gully TV. Man, I love when I can come and kick basketball with y'all. If you get a chance, go look up the University of Maryland versus North Carolina Tar Heels from the early 80s, and you'll see Michael Jordan and Len Bias get it in. Can't take nothing away from Mike. Never. And it was his intangibles that really impressed me at North Carolina. All of the steals and rebounds like a motherfucker. He's a rebounding ass guard. Playing in his Dr. J Converse. I'm up out of here, man. Subscribe to the channel. I hope y'all enjoyed this little 10-minute explosion, man. I just had to give it all to y'all. Follow me on Twitter at Gully TV1. Follow me on Instagram, The Real Gully TV. And for more hip hop, sports, and fashion, follow me here at The Real Gully TV. Peace.